defensive back.
This is RJ Moreno, running back.
This is Noah Drum, wide receiver.
This is Mason Meyer, defensive end.
This is Johnny Neich, defensive back.
This is Dylan Cahill, slot receiver.
This is Gage Leggett, defensive back, and you're listening to Georgetown Eagle Football on SHN Sports.
Happy after Thanksgiving, Eagle Nation. How's everybody doing tonight? Man, what a great night. Yeah, keep that going. You know, I always see these shows are kind of like pep rallies, you know, and our kids have been doing such a great job this season. And, of course, now entering the third round of the playoffs after a 35-32 victory versus New Caney. Another unbelievable effort this past Friday afternoon in Bryan, Texas. We'll go ahead and bring up your Georgetown Eagle head football coach, Jason Dean. Let's give it up for Coach Dean. And for those of you that are here tonight just eating a burger and you're wondering what is going on, this is our weekly Eagle Nation Coaches Show. Can we give one round of applause for any guests here tonight? Thank you for being here. You got suckered in tonight. It wasn't a bait and switch, we promise, but we're glad you're here. And, Coach, again, thank you as always for being here and your accessibility this season. Just talking about it just a few moments ago, of course, Georgetown picking up that second-round victory versus the New Caney Eagles. It was a battle of the birds as Georgetown victorious 35-32. That was a early kickoff on Friday afternoon in the second round of the playoffs. This is the first time Georgetown, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, reaching the third round since 2013. Is that correct?
That is.
And so Georgetown in that game versus New Caney scoring 28 points, 28 in the second quarter. They led 28-17 at half. New Caney, though, made things interesting. Many of you, of course, at that game. In the fourth quarters, they scored 8. They got close, but Georgetown held on. R.J. Moreno, his biggest effort of the season, over 100 yards rushing on the ground. Jackson, yeah, let's give a round for R.J. What a great running game. And Coach, I'll ask you about some of the other players because even though R.J. broke 100, it was a great running game for Georgetown. Jackson Siosin, the quarterback, with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And so overall, Coach, a great win. You know, as you continue to go forward, we don't need to sit here and talk about it, but you know, Coach, every single game is going to get tougher from here on out.
Absolutely. You know, the tournament, that's kind of how tournaments work. You know, just exactly what you said. We talked about to our kids, the games continue to get bigger and the competition continues to get better.
Well, Coach, in that game, I talked about R.J. Moreno. Your thoughts on his rushing performance and then some of your other players as well. It was a pretty well running game for Georgetown this past Friday night.
It was. You know, I think we rushed the football for a little over 260 yards. You know, all 3 of our running backs, you know, had a great night. R.J. Did a great job. You know, Xavier Martinez had close to 100 yards, had the most carries out of any of those guys. And then Javante, you know, chipped in a couple runs, one of those being a big, long run for him. Jackson just continues to be efficient, both throwing and running the football. But, you know, all that kind of centers around that offensive line. You know, those guys really played well last week. You know, kind of got a hat on a hat in the running game, and those guys were able to pound out some hard-earned running yards.
Talk a little bit about the passing game, Coach. Jackson doing a great job on the offensive end as a quarterback, over 140 in his rating, but it wouldn't be possible. You talked about your offensive line, but mention a little bit about the passing game as well, Coach.
You know, I think Jackson finished the night 13-16, you know, which is not gaudy, you know, numbers in this day and age by any means, but you know, I think it just goes back to what we've talked about many times here, Rob, over the last 6 or 7 weeks is being efficient. And, you know, right now we're able to be efficient on offense. We're making, you know, positive yards on first and second down, leaving us with manageable third downs. And when something happens and goes wrong and we're not, you know, in third and short, you know, we're making plays when we have to in the passing game. So, you know, just a credit to our kids, you know, our offensive staff doing a really good job of putting together things that our kids can execute, being able to get the ball to our open guys. And, you know, just really, really proud of those guys.
Coach, of course, you go back and you look. We played a game on Thursday, then play a Friday game early. We'll talk about now Georgetown playing a Saturday. Has those kind of extensions helped Georgetown in some manner to get a little bit more in or not?
Sure. You know, I think maybe more so than getting more stuff in. What it allows us to do is continue to try to get kids healthy. You know, just this time of year, you talked about, you know, there's only good teams left. And, you know, those tend to be very physical ball games. And, you know, you're going to get banged up, get bumps and bruises throughout that. So, you know, anytime you can get an extra day to get somebody well, get somebody healthy. I think it's beneficial.
Coach, we talk about a new Caney team with some experience. They come in, they play a great game, but Georgetown holds on in that second quarter, 28 points. What were your thoughts in that second quarter? Georgetown getting some takeaways and making some big plays happen. Your thoughts on that second quarter that really helped Georgetown with the edge going into the second half?
It was big. I thought we kind of got our legs under us a little bit in the first quarter. I think we're able to stick one in the end zone then. But our guys really did a great job of just staying focused, doing what the coaches were asking them to do there in the second quarter, and we kind of got things snowballing a little bit. Obviously, blocking a punt, in the second quarter was huge, giving us a short field. Johnny Notch, our defensive guys, did a great job of stripping a ball. They're deep in their territory one time. I think maybe that was for our second touchdown and recovering that. So, again, a great team effort. Special teams coming into play there. The defensive guys giving the offensive guys the ball back. So it was just a, really good team effort by our guys.
As we continue to talk to head coach Jason Dean of the Georgetown Eagles. Coach, just the last couple of questions before we look ahead to the game on Saturday in the third round. We've talked a lot about the positive things versus New Caney. Where were some areas that you felt Georgetown may have struggled a little bit? I know penalties, but not too bad. But some areas that you thought Georgetown maybe can improve on and things they will need to improve on as they continue to play and advance in the playoffs.
Well, anytime you can block a punt, statistics, talk about the NCAA average over the last 10 years, 87% of the time you're going to win the game. I'm not sure what the percentages are when you give up a kickoff return for a touchdown, which we fell victim to, but it pretty much negates the block punt. So that's obviously something that we got to correct. The guy we did our little pooch kick and the guy dropped the football exactly like we needed him to. I'll be danged if it didn't bounce right back to him, on a dead sprint. So those type of things are things that you just got to play through. And I thought our guys did a great job of that. And then obviously the long touchdown run, there in the fourth quarter, that's something we wish we had back. Our defensive guys, just got out of sync just a little bit there and gave that one up. But I just again I'm proud of our guys, for battling through that. New Caney pinning us on the 1 yard line. They're the final drive of the game, and we had to get 3 first downs, I think, to be able to, get that ball out of the hole and not give them the ball back. I think that might have been the biggest thing of the night, that was just really, really impressive. Our offensive guys, our offensive line, being able to bang that thing out of there, deep in our own territory, getting 3 first downs and being able to run out the clock was huge.
Coach, of course, anytime you're winning, the spirit just gets even more. We're about to enter the Christmas. Anybody ready for Christmas now, finally, that we're through Thanksgiving? There we go. Well, Coach, we go back just a few weeks ago, and we talk about Thanksgiving football. I think now we're talking December football, which is amazing. From us on the other side, as fans and those here in the audience today and those keeping up with Georgetown, a lot of us would say, and we feel that Georgetown is just consistently has found ways to get better each week. Just kind of wanted your take on that comment, and do you really feel like this is the best that Georgetown is playing right now this season?
There's no question. This is the best that we're playing, right now. And we talked to our team. We started talking, back after the Cedar Park loss. You come back the next week and you get a hard-fought win against Pflugerville, and then just every week, I feel like we're continuing to take a step, and we've been doing that consistently, and we'll have to do that consistently this Saturday, to be able to get another win this week. It'll take another step for us getting better this week to be able to do that.
Well, Coach, that's kind of a segue answer into moving now into the game versus Shadow Creek, the Sharks. And I've never heard of a shark mascot, Coach. Have you? I'm not knocking it. I've never heard of it, though, here in this area.
I have not. No, sir.
So, it takes water for sharks, and hopefully we can take the water out of Bryan, Texas. But this is a team, and I'm not knocking them. This is a very impressive team, Coach. And correct me on this if I'm wrong. I believe it's their first year playing 5A.
Well, it's their first varsity season.
First varsity season.
First varsity season. They for the last 2 years, Shadow Creek is an Anvil. Alvin ISD, and they are a breakoff from Manville High School, which has been very successful. They're out of the Houston area, And Rob, I kid you not, these guys have quality players. You know, they've been playing a Maverick schedule over the last couple of years. I think those kids opened Shadow Creek as sophomores. They played a Maverick schedule again as juniors. And now, you know, their class that started as sophomores, now those guys are seniors. And they have got some great players. You know, I think just defensively, for these guys, they probably have 7 Division I commits just on the defensive side of the football. Their running backs are Division I commit. They got a big right tackle that's going to be a Division I commit. So just exceptional athletes is what we're getting ready to play this Saturday.
Well, we talk about a Shadow Creek Shark team that definitely has their bite going for them this season. Of course, undefeated. But the last few games here in the playoffs, they've played some very quality opponents. They've beat those opponents. Of course, opening in the first round, they defeated Porter 37-30. And then some may say a surprise, but Cedar Park struggling a bit this season. But last week, right after the Georgetown game, playing at that same facility, the Shadow Creek Sharks defeated Cedar Park 21-14. Kind of your thoughts on that, Coach. I know we're talking about Georgetown, but Cedar Park has had a great season again. But that just goes to show you the competitiveness of this team that we'll be playing on Saturday.
Right, it does, you know, and I think it goes to show you the competitiveness of our district. You know how tough 11-5A Division I is, and the quality opponents that come out of there. You know, I was able to stay, and you mentioned that they played after us. You know, we hung around there for a couple hours, and I was able to stay and watch the Cedar Park Shadow Creek game. And, you know, they got 2 early scores on Cedar Park. Cedar Park got out of sync just a little bit defensively. But after that, man, Cedar Park did a great job of being able to stop. Shadow Creek was able to score 2 touchdowns in the second half. And it was, you know, it was a tie 14-14 game with about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So it was just a great football game, you know, between those 2 schools.
Coach, I always say without giving away too much, and I don't have to say that because I know you won't. We don't ever give away the game plan. But it's got to be tough, and that's one thing I admire about high school coaches. It specifically is you take the group of kids that you have, you mold the game around them, and great things happen, and that's what we're seeing here this season. Can you mention a little bit about how you change the game plan from game to game, because it's not always going to be the same, and what are some things that Georgetown's going to have to watch out for versus this Shadow Creek team?
Well, just speaking generally, you know, I think great coaches and it doesn't matter in what level, the NFL, college, high school, whatever. I think you've got to change to fit your dynamics of your team. You know, whatever that is, and sometimes those change throughout injuries throughout the year. Sometimes it changes just by the you know, what your kids are able to do well as you get going. So. You know, there's no doubt anybody that's watched Georgetown football the last 10 years knows that we're not doing the same thing specifically offensively than what we've done over the last several years. You know, what we're doing now fits this group of kids better. They execute it well and move on. This is the first year we played a 3-3 stack defensively. You know, so we kind of did some different things there to kind of fit our personnel better. So you got to be willing to adapt and mold a little bit to fit your personnel. And again, I don't think that changes from the NFL to college to high school. You know, what we're going to have to do well this week defensively. These guys are smoking fast. You know, they've got some receivers that can run. They've got a quality running back that can run. They've got a quarterback that's probably a little bit undersized for a 5A quarterback, not as quite as tall as what a lot of people are. But, man, this kid can flat run, you know, and does a good job of throwing the football. He kind of waits for protection to break down. If he hasn't delivered the ball yet, then it's kind of Katie bar the door because he's going to take off and run and do something with his feet. So we got to be able to contain that stuff. We can't give up, you know, long, deep balls over our head. We can't give up long runs for touchdowns. We got to make them stay on the field 8 players or more. I feel like that's kind of our number. That if we can make them stay on the field 8 players or more, then we got a chance, you know, to maybe make that drive end in some type of kick, whether that's a field goal or a punt. Offensively, we've got to do the same thing, but just looking on the other side of the football, you know, I really think if we can stay on the field for 2 first downs a drive, you know, we definitely can't go out there and have 3 and outs. That's something we talk about all the time. But we got to be able to, if we can force those guys into 2 first downs per drive, then I think we got a chance, you know, to do some good stuff offensively too.
Well, Coach, Georgetown, of course, looking to continue their winning ways. We'll talk more about that game as we talk in the last segment with Pete Thill. But, Coach, as always, we appreciate your accessibility this season. And, hey, I wanted to give it up, too, for the Georgetown community who has been coming out in droves to these last playoff games. Thank you, Georgetown, and please come out Because, Coach, sitting here, you know, for us, it's easy on the broadcasting end, and I'm just going to let Brad keep broadcast. I got to work, so, and it's been working. Brad always likes to joke around, and he goes, you know, every time you've asked me to call the games, we're undefeated, so I don't want to mess that up right now.
Heck no. Rob,
so we're going to –
Rob, you're out, and Brad's in.
Brad's in, and I'll keep doing the coaches shows, but – you know, it's been a true honor and blessing and privilege. And, again, the Georgetown community, I wanted to let the community know the kids feed off of this. They don't only just feed off of this coach's show, but they feed off of everything that goes on. So you guys are making a difference, and there's a lot of magic with these kids, but it's the community really pouring that in as well. So thank you.
Well, you know, our guys, our community, our booster club, and it's kind of rallying the community around that. But, you know, it's not going unnoticed. All the noise makers and, you know, things like that, the little homemade stuff, the fat heads, you know, that are up on a stick and, you know, all that different kind of stuff, man. You're exactly right. It adds a cool atmosphere. You know, it adds a neat atmosphere to that. Our high school's kind of in a buzz, you know, right now, excited about our, you know, kids doing good. Our parents are in a buzz. Our booster club's enjoying it. So, man, it's just we're very grateful, you know, to be playing football at this time of year. We talk to our guys, you know, there's 64 teams in your bracket, you know, when you start. If you talk about, you know, out of those 64 teams, at about 75 kids and coaches and all that kind of stuff per roster, that's about 4,800 you start with. And then, you know, after that week it divides down to 2,400. And then now this week there's 1,200 left. After this week there's going to be 600 left. And here we go. You know, so just a very, very appreciative, very thankful to be in the position that we are, no doubt.
Well, Coach, again, we appreciate you. I'll let you go. I know you got to be on the horn here in a little bit. Our friends over at 104.9 always chiming in as well. So, again, let's give it up for Georgetown Eagle head football coach Jason Dean. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Well, as we continue the coaches show here, we appreciate everybody being here tonight. As those that haven't been here, we usually move through 4 segments, or really 3 segments. This is the second part of our segment where we bring our special player guest. Tonight, I will start with the junior defensive tackle, Braden Hargrove. Come on up, Braden. Braden, the first time on the coaches show. And I had actually reached out to Braden yesterday evening. I said, hey, man, can you come to the coaches show? And he said, absolutely. And, of course, Braden's mom working for State Farm Insurance. His parents are here. Let's give them a round of applause as well, Mr. Hargrove. And your brother in the house. And I had to throw that in there because your mom's employer, that's my personal insurance agent. So,
really?
you know, I had to throw that in there. But, well, Braden, this has been a phenomenal season so far. You're only a junior on the team, so you've got to see some things. And then, of course, you'll get to play again next year. But you're not even thinking about next year right now.
No, I'm focused on this year right now. Try to get to the next try to get always to the next level, like next game, helping out those seniors.
Well, before we get started here, Braden, how long have you been in Georgetown, man?
I've been in Georgetown since I was 4, so about 12 years.
Where'd you guys move from?
Round Rock.
Round Rock.
Yeah.
All right. See, you always end up in Georgetown. So, well, Braden, as we continue to talk to you here, a junior on the team, what has been some of the highlights of your season so far? I know the playoffs have been huge. Talk about some of the biggest moments, the highlights that you've had so far here at Georgetown.
I mean, some of the best moments were really, you know, making playoffs. That was a huge deal for us. We, that's awesome to me. I not expect that. And then just seeing those seniors out there, just kind of help seeing how they lead the juniors, and seeing how they really do that, because that's really cool to me, because knowing that next year we'll be able to do that for the other juniors.
And do you feel like this has been a very big learning year for you? And if so, and I know that's kind of a dumb question because you're going to say yes, but I'm going to ask it anyways. And who do you really look up to in senior leadership on the team?
I mean, yeah, this has been a huge learning year for me. The Mason and Tyler over there, they really shown me the steps. I haven't played defense my first year on defense, so they've really taken me under their wing and shown me, and all the other, you know, Johnny Knight and even Zane Haas, you know, not specifically on like just technique stuff. It's just like how to lead, how to be a leader.
How is it coming? You know, you have a big Thanksgiving on it. What'd you eat for Thanksgiving? We've got to ask that. What'd you have for Thanksgiving?
A lot of ham and a lot of turkey.
All right, there you go. Ham and turkey. How many ate ham and turkey? A lot of folks eating a ham and turkey. Then we're going to have some Christmas ham. We're going to keep carrying the ham, too. Let's talk as we talk about that. But you go from that Thanksgiving, and then you go into playing a game. Talk about that brief break, and does that energize you going into that playoff game?
Well, I mean, Thanksgiving, you always want to eat, you always want to gorge yourself, but the coaches were telling us, you better not overdo it. You can't overdo it. So we kind of had to watch it. It wasn't as great at Thanksgiving as it could have been, but, still pretty good.
Hey, I think we'd take playoff wins versus a big feast.
Yeah,
over
I think everybody here would.
Well, talk a little bit more about your role on the team on the defensive end. As a junior, your role and really where do you feel your big contributions are taking place? Because you've done some great things this season for the team.
I mean, it's just making sure that you're doing your techniques that way. If you're doing your stuff right and the other people are doing their stuff right, it works. You get good plays. It doesn't matter if I'm making it or if, Johnny or Mason and Tyler are making it. As long as we're making the plays, that's all that really matters.
Well, your offense last week scored 28 points. We talked to Coach Dean about that. 28 points in the second quarter. But then in that final frame, New Caney shutting you guys out 8-0, but still holding on to the victory. A great defensive effort, though, doing some big things. What was going through your mind at that point as New Caney seemed like they were starting to inch back into this one, and the final score dictated that? What was going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, we were on the defensive bench. We were all just sitting there. We were watching, seeing if the offense could push it out, and they did a huge job. It was great. They came out there. Me and Mason, we were all and Tyler, we were all just sitting there shaking, just waiting for it, and they finally pulled it through. So it was huge. It was awesome.
Braden, as I ask every week, last week we had some of the coaches come in and kind of fill in for you guys as we had the feast. Do you have a nickname on the team?
I do not.
No nickname.
Not really.
Okay. We'll figure if you
just Grove.
Grove.
I hear that a lot.
Grove. No. How'd that go again? Grove. Who says that to coach? Are you trying
Coach
to
Pat?
Coach. Oh, there you go. I knew it was one of the coaches, man.
It's usually not a good thing if he says it either. So.
Well, we look ahead now to a team that's undefeated. Their first year with all varsity players. You guys are firing on all cylinders right now. Your thoughts going into this game, what are you and your defense going to have to do against this very tough and capable team? As you guys are just as tough as capable, though.
We're going to have to make sure we play an assignment right football because, like Coach Dean said, they have a bunch of athletes on their team, and they have a bunch of guys who can make huge plays if we're not doing our assignment and if we're not doing it right every play. So that's going to be a huge part, just making sure we're doing our assignments.
Well, as we asked Braden Hargrove, the defensive tackle for Georgetown, a final couple of questions here. You're only a junior. Have you started to give thought, though, to where you want to be after high school? Where do you want to see yourself?
I mean, I'd love to play college football somewhere, but I'm just more focused on trying to enjoy the moment right now, trying to get my grades done right now and that sort of stuff. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
There you go. Good focus, man, and the things you're focusing on here, translating onto the football field. Camera's on you right there. Tonight, because we're in that third round of the playoffs, we're up to a record 4.2 million people on the YouTube stream right now. He's sweating up here because of that.
Bit.
So let's cool him off. Who do you want to send a shout-out to, a little love tonight?
All right, we got to shout out to Johan, shout out to Chris, shout out to Kevin, shout out to Johnny, shout out to Nick, Tommy, Mason, Tyler, Alex, Matt, the other Matt, Connor, Colby, Taco, Jackson, and shout out to the JV locker room for really going and decorating our locker room for us. It looks really nice.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
I had to make sure that.
Hey, and I usually ask you that shout-out question last. I skipped one. Who do you want to, or who do you, I don't want to say who do you want to give credit to, but who do you credit for where you're at right now in your high school career and where you've gotten in life, man? Because you've done some great things, Braden.
I mean, my family's been a huge part of it. My parents have really shown me, just really told me what to do right, and my grandparents and my uncle. And then, Alex Steele over there, they're all
He's got the peer pressure going.
Like that, so.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, another great, outspoken, awesome young man here, as all of our Georgetown Eagle players are. Let's give it up one last time to defensive tackle, junior Braden Hargrove. Thank you, buddy.
Thank
Good
you
to see you. Well, Georgetown is known for great people, a great community, great players, and great families. And now one walking in the footsteps, and I don't say it because he's the kicker, but he's literally in the footsteps of his brother and doing great things. Let's give it up for Matt Diaz, your Georgetown kicker. Come on up, Matt. Well, Matt, it's good to see you, young man. We talked a little bit, the junior here, and I was thinking it, following in the footsteps, and I was like, he's the kicker. That kind of flowed together, man. Well, Matt, we know Luis, who kicked for Georgetown and did a great job several years ago, and I would assume you saw him growing up. Talk about that relationship with your brother and what led you to kick here at Georgetown High School.
I always followed his footsteps, playing soccer growing up, being on the same team as he did, and now following him and kicking, and hopefully going to college like he did for kicking.
Awesome. Well, as we talk to Matt Diaz here, I always am just I feel for you guys on the kicking side because literally there's points that come off your feet if you think about it like that. The pressure is always on y'all whenever, even in extra points. Talk about how you manage that pressure and handle it, and you've done a great job this year with it, Matt. Talk a little bit about that.
I usually try not to get nervous because if I do, I could mess up and ruin the game for these guys, and because most of the games they've been pretty like the games have been close, so I try not to miss any and not get nervous.
And I bet you get lots of pats on the back, though, from both the offense and the defense.
Yes, sir.
Well, talk about that relationship because, as a kicker, you're not really on the offense, you're not really on the defense. What's that like? And talk about the camaraderie you have with your teammates, Matt.
I usually go with the offense most of the time because my special teams coordinator, he's also the running back coach, so I usually just go with them. But sometimes I ride with the defense going to the games on the buses, so I kind of get a little bit of both sides.
And Jackson is your holder, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you've got to have a good relationship with your holder. Talk about how that works. And in practice, what do you guys go through to make sure there's a very delicate system in the kicking game? Mention about how that works and just the relationship you have with your holder because things have got to be literally perfect to get that kickoff the way that you want.
During practice, we usually just he always asks me if I'm ready to go and gives me thumbs up and everything and motivating me, telling me I can make this every time.
What is some of the advice that you get from your brother from time? I'm sure he gives it to you. What's some things that he's told you?
He just tells me that it's just like a golf swing. Just got to be calm and swing right through.
Well, as we talk to Matt Diaz, a few last questions here. We go back, we look at New Caney last week. The score's getting close. When you start seeing the score get close like that, what's going through your mind thinking, oh, man, and I'm not putting you in pressure mode. I'm just thinking, this is unbelievable what you got to be, the pressure, man, that's going on.
I usually try to get my mind ready because you never know, I could kick the game-winning field goal in any of these games, and I'm just over there by the net kicking, getting ready to make one in.
Well, Matt, of course, Georgetown has a legacy of great kickers. I've talked a lot about your brother. If I bring a kicker up here, of course, I'm naturally going to talk about Mason Crosby. What's the legacy playing at a high school with a kicker that's won a Super Bowl ring? What has that meant to you, being able to kick in that same field?
It's awesome, having two former kickers that have been pretty good and having one that's won the Super Bowl, it's just great.
Awesome. Well, I think, this year you guys are poised to continue your winning ways. The whole community is behind you. Matt, before we let you go, where do you want to be? You're only a junior as well, so you've had some learning experience. Of course, this season, I know want to continue the win as much as we do here. Where do you want to be after school, though? Have you given that much thought yet?
If I have the opportunity to play in college football, I will. But if not, then I'll just try to continue my education in the criminal justice.
Awesome. Let's give it up for that. I think that's a great, admirable, just great stuff, Matt. As far as influences that have helped you get to where who do you want to say a shout for that for?
Definitely my coaches and my teammates. They're always telling me, be ready, because the game could rely on me. And Alex Steele, my snapper, he's also my snapper. And my family.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to give the option up to you. See, you're kind of in that audible position. Do you want to side with the offense or the defense on a trivia challenge tonight?
Offense.
He's right away offense. So let's give it up. Matt, stay right here. Let's give it up for Matt Diaz, your Georgetown Eagle kicker, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, this is the part where we have our trivia challenge. So if we can bring up the offense and the defense. The offense gather around Mr. Diaz, the defense to the right. And we are going to go over a little trivia challenge here tonight. The way this works, guys, is I've got 5 questions. And I'm going to scoot over out of the way here. Man, there's a lot. How many guys are here tonight? This is what I'm talking about. All right, guys. I have to take a picture of this, and I don't think we've ever had this. But, hey, can we give a round of applause for all the players that came tonight? My goodness. Man. I'm going to go ahead here. This is a rare opportunity. Is Jackson over here is belching the burgers. Y'all go ahead and go ahead here on the count of three. I'm going to get a picture of you guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, awesome. Well, here's how it works, guys. The offense currently leading the defense 21-17. So they came back last week. The defense came back into this.
Still got a lot to go.
There's a lot of y'all here. Can we real quickly pass the microphone around, say your name, your year, and your position?
Matthews, kicker, class of 2020.
Jackson Seosin, quarterback, senior.
Alex Thiel, O-line, junior.
Chris Martinez, big back, junior.
Kevin Espinoza, left guard, 2019.
Tommy Wilson, junior, O-line.
Hey, let's start back this way with the micro. Or go ahead.
Javante Rodan, running back, senior.
All right, we'll start back the other way now.
Nick Sanchez, safety, 2019.
Johnny Knight, safety, 2019.
Braden Hargrove, defensive end, 2020.
Tyler Knowles, defensive tackle, 2019.
Mason Meyer, defensive end, 2019. Connor Cummings, D-line, 2020. Go Cards.
Matt Anderson, linebacker, 2020. Tucker Williams, defensive back, 2020.
Colby Cummings, defensive end, 2020.
There you go. All right. Colby's 2020. He looks like he's 20, man. Come on, Colby. All right, guys. Well, here's how we're going to start it tonight. Let's listen up, guys, because we're about to get this rolling. Hey, hold this up so the audience can see back there, Mason. Hold that up. Or Matt, hold that up. So that's what y'all are playing for.
Y'all cherish it while y'all
right there. Go ahead and set that back down over here. We had to get it, people showing it. Here we go, folks. 5 questions tonight. The way it works is you get 8 seconds to answer, and we will start with we're going to go ahead and start with the defense tonight to my right. You guys are trailing 21-17. Multiple choice. You've got 8 seconds, and we will give you a chance. Here we go. What current FBS Division I school has the most all-time losses? The most losses. College trivia tonight. Is it A, Maryland, B, Kansas, C, Baylor? I hate to say that because I'm a Baylor Bear. C, Baylor, or D, Northwestern? D, Northwestern, C, Baylor, B, Kansas, or A, Maryland. The most losses all time. We'll give you 8 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
All right. Kansas.
Johnny Knight says Kansas. B. We'll send it over to the offense.
A, Maryland.
A, Maryland. You guys are both wrong. It was D, Northwestern. 619. 619.
Come on, Johnny.
Score. All right, guys. Hey, listen up, guys. Here we go. 21-17. The score remains. This one will go to the offense. There are 4 active coaches who have won 2 national. Well, one of them may have been reactive. 4 active coaches who have won 2 national titles. Name them. One of them is named in this list. Is it Charlie Strong, Art Briles, Nick Saban, or Mac Brown?
How many?
2.
Only 2?
There's 4 coaches who have done it, but in this list, there's only 1 in this list.
2 or more, or only 2?
Yeah, 2 or more, or only 2.
Only 2. Well, it could be more, but I'm going to say only 2. Only 2. Only 2. Only 2. I'm going to give you a hint real quick. It was active. It's not Mac Brown because here's the deal. I'm going to tell you it's not Mac Brown because I wrote this before he became active just recently. So you got 3 choices: Charlie Strong, Art Briles, or Nick Saban. We'll go over to the offense. You guys ready? You got 3 seconds. 2, 1, and
Art Briles.
Art Briles.
No, who's the other one?
Oh. They said Art Briles, the guy with the mic. So back over to the defense.
Nick Saban, Roll Tide, baby.
It is Nick Saban. 21 to 18. Nick Saban, Alabama in 09, LSU in 03.
Oh, 2 different teams?
So here we go. Yeah, 2 different.
That was so confusing. I had to throw out the question. Okay, that was confusing.
21-18. 21-18 offense, guys. All right.
All right, let's listen to the question.
All right, here we go. Don't worry. Offense, y'all are still ahead. Third question. What is the oldest rivalry in NCAA Division I college football, current or former? So current or former rivalry. Okay, what is the oldest rivalry? You guys answered, y'all are answering first. The defense is answering first. Is it Lafayette and Lehigh, Texas and Texas A&M, Nebraska and Kansas, or Wisconsin and Minnesota? Again, A, Lafayette and Lehigh, B, Texas and Texas A&M, C, Nebraska and Kansas, or D, Wisconsin and Minnesota? We will give you 5 seconds here to the defense. 5.
What's A?
A is Lafayette and Lehigh. B, Texas and Texas A&M. C, Nebraska and Kansas, or D, Wisconsin and Minnesota. 3 seconds, defense. 2, 1. Taco's got the hot sauce. What do you got?
All right, we're going Wisconsin, Minnesota.
All right, let's go over to the offense.
A.
The correct answer is A, Lafayette and Lehigh, 153 games. Check this out. This rivalry goes from 1884 to 2017. That's a long time. So the offense leading 22 to 18. All right, here we go. Yeah, here in A&M in Texas is 118, by the way. So they're way behind. Who holds the record for the most consecutive bowl wins? Most consecutive bowl wins in college football, doesn't matter which division, on this list. Out of these 4, who holds the most? The offense will have it first. Is it A, Texas? And, yeah, we're talking no, it's not. You know what? Scratch the word consecutive. Who has the most bowl wins? It doesn't really matter on this question, to be honest.
Wait, so
I'm just letting you know.
It
Doesn't really matter. So who has the most bowl wins? A, Texas, B, Virginia Tech, C, Notre Dame, or D, Florida State? Is it A, Texas, B, Virginia Tech, C, Notre Dame, or D, Florida State? Who's got the most bowl wins? I'm going to give you guys 10 more seconds on this one because I know you're talking. We're getting down to the grind here.
We're good.
Offense first.
Notre Dame.
Offense says Notre Dame.
We're going with the Fighting Irish as well.
Fighting. All right. Let me rephrase this. I screwed up again, guys. That's what happens when you get a full-time job. Okay. The most consecutive bowl appearances. Scratch the wins. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I knew there was something off on that question. The most record bowl appearances. Who holds the record? Bowl appearances. It is A, and it could be who you just said. I'm not going to take it away from you. Who holds the record for the most bowl appearances? A, Texas, B, Virginia Tech, C, Notre Dame, or D, Florida State? Offense, I'll give you 5 seconds. Sorry about the mess up, guys. I just want to make sure I worded it right.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame still? Okay.
Notre
Defense.
Dame.
Florida State.
It is Florida State. They have 36. 22 to 19 offense. Last question, guys. Last question. Recently, very recently, Texas A&M. How many Aggie fans in a house? We got a few. There we go. Very recently, Texas A&M and LSU, they lasted 7 overtimes. It's happened before, so that's not the record. Before A&M won, 7 OTs. What was the combined point total in that game? It also set an FBS record. Okay? What was the combined point total? Is it A, 146, B, 132, C, 142, or is it D, 156? For all you, and there was a lot of defensive guys raising their hands saying they liked A&M, so we'll see.
Let's get it.
Is it 146A, 132B, C 142, or D 156? And the defense will answer this one first.
Yeah, we got it.
The A&M LSU combined point total. Set a record. 146, 132, 142, or 156. Defense, go.
A.
A 146, offense.
A 146.
It was 146. So you guys didn't know. 22-19, the score remains. The defense gained a few. But the you may have gained a few, but the offense still in the lead. Let's give it up, guys. Thank y'all for being here. Good luck on Saturday. Let's keep it rolling. And I'll work to make those questions not as confusing. That's just part of the fun. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome up your Georgetown Eagle football booster president, Pete Thiel. Come on up, Pete. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Pete Thiel. I'm just kidding. We had to give you a boxer type thing, Pete. Well, Pete, we appreciate you being here as always, and the work that you have done this season along with your other booster partners. You guys have been phenomenal, bringing the energy here to Georgetown as always. Pete, a big game and a big victory for Georgetown. Another big one coming up at Bryan. Talk about the details. It's going to be played, I believe, at the same stadium there in Bryan, Texas. Let's go over that game and that 1 o'clock kickoff.
All right, I have a couple things to talk about. The first is we want to thank you, Rob, for doing this. Having this show creates a sense of community. It's awesome to see 12 kids piled in around this table, buying in, being excited to be here. Like, doing things like this creates community, which is one of the things the Booster Club's responsible for. I want to tell the parents, awesome job making noise. We caused 2 timeouts. New Caney to take 2 timeouts last week.
There you go.
Because they couldn't get their play in. Jack Ward has made those refrigerant tanks full of ball bearings. Most irritating thing in the world, apart from the 30 sets of clappers of 2x4s we made.
Oh, my goodness.
All the moms got together, painted them up, and just passed them out. Like, that creates community. Like, that's something I'm excited about with this team. I love that the team's winning. I love that we're creating community. The game this week is going to be at 1 o'clock at Merrill Green Stadium at Bryan High School. Same as it was last week. It was on Friday. It's on Saturday, December 1st. It's great. We're playing December football.
There you go, December football, baby. That's what we're talking about. Kay knows. There you go.
Things that we have going on this week as the Booster Club. Because of the Friday game, because of the Saturday game, we're doing Friday night team dinner. So any parents that are watching this, check your email for an email from the Booster Club asking you to make a pasta dish or a salad to bring at 6 o'clock at the cafeteria. We have it reserved. So we'll do another big team dinner where we line up the tables like we did for Thanksgiving dinner. Saturday morning, so that's Friday night. Saturday morning at 6:30, boys will report. 7 o'clock is taco breakfast. So I think we have enough people lined up making tacos now for all the boys. After that, we'll go out and pray on the field. Then at 7:50, we want people to get together to see the Eagles off. We'll get to bring your clackers, bring your noisemakers, bring your fatheads on a stick, make the boys feel like we all support them, like there's an excitement about what they're doing. And then at 11 o'clock, we're doing our tailgating organized by Roland Moreno at Grub Burger Bar.
There you go.
And I had this pulled up, but it went down, and I'll give the address here in a sec.
Grub Burger Bar. Anybody been to Grub Burger Bar before? That's kind of a fun word. Grub Burger Bar.
All right, it is at 980 University Drive in College Station at 11 o'clock. The phone is 979-268-1041. Roland reserved a room for 60. So I think we had about 100 last week, so we overwhelmed the place we were at last week. So we're going to try to get these people more ready for us. Georgetown showed up. It was awesome. We were the one that was creating the noise and creating problems for the other team. The band also. Shout out to the band.
Absolutely.
They did a great job. Vicky
Let's
and
give the band a round of applause. They bring, you talk about school spirit, the band is bringing that spirit every game, man.
Last game I felt like was their best job of playing on defense when they could create confusion for the other team and then being quiet on offense so that our guys can go to work, no problem with the snap count, no problem with hearing any changes that Jackson may make at the line. They did a great job. When we went out on defense, you just heard them start going da-da-da-da-da-da. And it was like, yeah, now we get excited. Everybody feeds off each other. Just the energy goes up. The boys feel it.
Awesome. Well, Pete, we appreciate you. I never give a shout out. I want to give a shout out not only to the band and the fan and the communities, but a shout out to GHS Blue Crew 2018. Those guys are bringing the heat too, man. They bring it. Thank you, Blue Crew. And when we tweet out stuff, they're always retweeting it, so I wanted to say a thank you to the Blue Crew as well. Pete, excited about this game as Georgetown looks for a round 3 victory. The community's behind them. And we know that Georgetown has got the spirit, and things are always alive and well here in Georgetown, Texas. We want to thank our guests again, Braden Hargrove, Matt Diaz, for being here, as well as Coach Dean, as always, and everyone who showed up tonight. Let's give a round of applause to Burger U. Thank you, Burger University. We appreciate you. And we are looking forward to many more coaches' shows. The season's not over yet. We've got plenty of football left here in Central Texas. Well, friends, as I always end every broadcast, I want to remind you we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you, especially this Christmas holiday season. Friends, before we sign off, on a count of 3, let's give an Eagle fight never dies and keep that spirit rolling. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Eagle fight never dies. Good night, friends.